Welcome to Tapped In. My name is Dave Figueroa-Martinez of DFM Coaching, and today we're going to be discussing no free grips or hand fighting in general. And as an instructor, this is one of the things that I've noticed. We tend to negate or neglect or overlook. And when I watch students from white to blue, even later, they haven't quite picked up the nuances of how to hand fight properly and how important getting grips, being in control of hands, and allowing your opponent to get grips is negating or influencing the game that you're playing or how the round is going. And what I mean by that is oftentimes we get into these like exchanges where we let them get the collar. We don't address it. We don't drive the hand off. We don't break the grip. We don't do anything. We then get some kind of grip of our own, and then we start to play. And in some instances, that makes sense. There's going to be moments when maybe I'm passing and someone has a collar grip, and I already know the pass that I'm going to do or the angle that I'm going to take in the pass, that grip isn't going to hinder me moving forward. That's me understanding the game. But there are a lot of grips that I have to break or nullify in order to get better position for myself. So it's an understanding that, and it's understanding how important that initiation is, or that initial contact is when you're starting off the round. Way too often, one, we go to our back, which is a separate issue, but related. And then the other one being, we let them just kind of dictate where the hands are going to end up going. And what I'm trying to break or instill in the students that I'm responsible for now is, I want you to have a grip battle first. And I want you to initiate that grip battle. And I want you to dictate where the things are going to go, whether you're top person or bottom. So one of the things that I came across recently was a task-based game by, his name escapes me right now, by Kit Dale. And it's part of his collection, which I paid for because it was on sale, but you can actually find a segment of it on YouTube for free. And what he does is he has two partners stand together. You can have, I had one seated in butterfly guard and one kneeling double or both knees on the mat. And the person in butterfly will grab both wrists of the other opponent, and they're going to have a loose but firm grip. I do not want to strain. I do not want to death grip their wrists. It's counterproductive even though you feel like you want to, it's counterproductive. When they start to bring their hands up north, or like tier 12, you let go of the grip, you maintain contact, your palm stays connected to their wrist, your thumb pulls back, and then your forefingers wrap over the top. So now it looks like, and this is going to be, some people say, oh, you're being graphic or violent. So now when we come up, it's going to look like almost like I'm holding a knife in a stabbing motion, in a sense. That, if you can picture that. So now my four fingers are over the top. I can keep my thumb underneath. So I'm like holding the handle of a knife and I'm bringing it down. If you can picture that. Then when they want to go back down, my thumb retracts, allowing the movement to happen without jamming my own thumbs or wasting too much energy. My fingers retract as well. My palms stay connected to the wrists, and they move with my opponent as they go back down. My thumb comes over the wrist. My fingers come on the inside or bottom of the wrist, and then they hold there. And then we do this exercise back and forth. And what I want is, I don't want disconnection. I want my palms to always be connected to their wrist in some way. I do not have to prevent the motion unless I want to. Let's say I'm starting to go for arm drag or some other type. Maybe I want to get to 2-on-1. Those are separate. For the drill, we're just maintaining that contact. We're not creating so much movement that the partner can't follow. Like, we're just easing into it. So go slowly, allow your partner to work. And then as you get comfortable, start acting out. Top person will start acting out if they want to go grab like the collar tie or right behind the neck. Bottom person then will deflect, and then the game continues. So your goal is to not allow them to maintain any solid grips. You're maintaining contact with their wrist the entire time. So there should be a little bit of a push into it so that you can feel them pushing back. And your hand should be flowing back and forth. And then you start adding other movements. Like, let's say they want to go outward, almost like they're making a haymaker. Your hand will continue to slide under the wrist, palm out, still connected to the wrist. And then that's where you can block. You can take them back down, arm drag. You can take them back down 2-on-1. But the most important part is flowing with whatever they're doing. We're not trying to prevent it. You're going to have moments where you get to a specific position where you're just like, I want this for the arm drag. I want this for 2-on-1. I want this for some other grip, pull, push that you want to do. But most of the game or most of the playing here is not about stopping their movements. It's about redirecting, flowing, pushing when they push, following a little bit when they retract. You don't want to follow too far where you're overextended, but there is a flow of energy that comes back and forth that you're going to be playing with. Once you feel comfortable, you start building up speed. And you can start playing like I did this yesterday at the Saturday class. And we just started playing. Once people got comfortable, I said, when you're ready, arm drag. And they would flow a little bit, and then they would hit that arm drag. And they would go back to flowing, hit that arm drag. And this initiated and let them understand what things should feel like. It should not be uncalculated or wild. Like, best way I can put it, it should be with some kind of intent. I'm flowing, I'm redirecting. And then once you get better, you'll start having your students kind of like circle the wrist on the inside, so then they're in control. So in this entire battle, whoever has palms on the wrist is genuinely more in control than the other person. They can grip the wrist if they wanted to. They can push the wrist across the body if they want to. They can push it back. They can start pulling. So they're in control. But as you get a little bit better, then you start having your wrist kind of rotate on the inside and C-gripping, and then you're in control. So we played a little bit of that as well. And the reason these aspects are so important is because that initial grip battle that you have at the beginning of the round is in essence, the conversation starter. It's the initial exchange that leads to either mistakes or successes. If you are not engaged early, chances are you're going to be put on your back. And if you're put on your back, now you have to fight gravity, angles, pressure, weight. Specifically, if they're bigger than you or more skilled than you, you're going to have a hard time getting out from under that. So you have to, in this debate, be the first person to speak. And by that, I mean, you are putting your palms on their wrists and you're controlling where they go and how they want to initiate. You want to negate all of that. And then you want to start your own gripping sequence. There are times, there's people that I roll with. There was a guy, Brian at HQ, a black belt that I loved rolling with. He and I oftentimes would grip exchange for 3 or 4 minutes. And that was the majority of the battle because we understood whoever got the better of that exchange ended up getting top position, and whoever got top position typically stayed there. It didn't mean we didn't get our sweeps, but it was just a battle of who gets that better position early gets to dictate what's going on in the rest of the round. Specifically, if you're equal or if that other person's a little bit better than you, you do not want to give anything up. There is a strategy to all this. It's not our hands slapping back and forth. You will have students who get a little apprehensive about this game because we associate games with wins and losses instead of just learning and building a skill. That's another discussion. So I've had to have students kind of slow down. I've demonstrated what it feels like in front of them. And then sometimes I demonstrate what it feels like when I'm doing it to them. And I let them play and I have them see what I'm doing specifically. And that I'm not slapping, I'm not darting in and out, I'm not disconnecting from their wrists and flailing about. None of those things really help. You need to be connected, calm, and understanding that when they move, you're going to feel it. When they pull back, you're going to feel that too. So there's nothing secret in how they play. Will they circle the hand around occasionally? Will they maybe switch for a cross collar grip or something like that? Yes. You're going to have things that are going to be a little different for you as you start to get a good understanding of this position. But there's no sense in slapping or flailing. It doesn't help. You should understand the game and then what things you may want. And I know that's hard early, but as you develop this game in the gym, you'll start to understand arm drag's really good. 2-on-1s are really good. Collar ties are good. Maybe a little harder to get to, but this gripping exchange, it's just a mini game, and I need to play it and get good at it strategically to understand how I can develop it into the rest of my game. Every grip has a purpose. I never grip you without understanding what I want to do next. So if I cross grip, my left hand crosses and I grab my opponent's left hand. Generally speaking, I want 2-on-1, or vice versa if I go in the other direction. I want 2-on-1. 2-on-1 allows me to expose the back. It allows me to play a little bit of butterfly. It allows me to off center. It allows me to push you back. So those are my goals. I love 2-on-1s. If you are really good at defending grips, I will sometimes get a inferior grip, one that I deem inferior because it's not my go-to, in order for you to respond and try to grip over my grip. So if I grab, let's say both of my hands grab your left hand, that's not a grip that's going to force a sweep necessarily. It prevents you from doing some things and it causes you some worry. So when I put both of my hands on your left wrist, I'm waiting for your other hand to join the battle. Because right now it's 2-on-1, I'm going to be able to control you more often than not. So you're going to have to bring the other hand in. When you bring the other hand in, I cross grip and then I start getting into 2-on-1s on the other side. So there's going to be moments where my initial grips, the ones I really want, you might be great at defending. So then I rely on something else to force you to start giving me something that I want. This is a little bit high level, and it may not be something you start doing early, but after you get used to hand fighting, that's what, in essence, what you're going to be doing. You're going to be playing a chess match where you feint, you start using feints a bit more, where you will set up grips knowing that they have to break those grips, and then you set something else up. There's times in gi where people are really good at stopping me getting the cross collar grip, and they fight that anything near the neck really well. So what I do is I grab with my non-dominant, or the hand that I don't want in the collar, I grab something lower, maybe chest level, and then I yank, which forces them to have to pull back because they don't want to get pulled into me, and both of their hands will go to that grip. So then I use the hand that I really want in the collar to get a higher grip. Some people are really aware of this, so they start defending. So then I have to walk my hands from chest level a little higher than that, let go, and then regrip with my weaker hand, and almost like I'm climbing a rope up to the collar position that I want. So it becomes a game of deception. And you start understanding that if you can make them worry about something that's different than what you really want, you can battle your way to it instead of going straight there. That's going to be the game that you're going to be playing most often with higher level partners and opponents. Break the grip and break the plan. And what I mean by that is if your opponent is, let's say they're standing over you and you're in butterfly guard, and they get a grip on your feet. That's a grip that I love because it leads right into arm drags. So I have to break that because I don't want them to start walking around my feet, because what they're doing is they're cementing my feet to the ground, which forces me, and it doesn't allow me to circle with them. So instead of allowing them to circle, I immediately attack that grip with an arm drag. Let's say we're in the same position and we're in the gi and someone grabs my collar. same side as their hand. I understand that they might also be trying to control that same side leg and turn me like a steering wheel so that I can get on my side and they can pass the guard. I need to understand that that collar grip is super important. I need to break it early. I don't want that grip to prevent me from playing guard well. So I have to address that early. There's also times when, on the flip side, I might have a collar grip and I notice that they're going to put both hands on my hand and they're about to break violently. There's some people who have this innate ability of they know how to push and how to pull their head back, where when the grip gets broken, you almost injure your finger at times, or your finger gets caught in a gi or pulled a certain way. In order to save my hands, I have understood that I need to bail on certain grips before that happens. So if I have the cross collar, and he puts both hands on my hand and I understand who I'm fighting, I will set up my right hand to replace my grip on the collar and let go of the grip that he's breaking before he breaks it. So now I've intentionally let go to save my hands from any type of injury, but I still have a collar grip that he has to address. So then when he starts addressing that grip, I will loosen up the grip and allow him to start to break slightly. And what happens is my hand will start to slide down the collar down to almost chest level. And I then re-grip with the hand that I actually wanted in the collar. So it's this little mini game of understanding I don't want my fingers to get injured. I don't want my hands to get injured. I need to save them whenever possible. I let go on my own terms while setting something else up. This has been huge for me. This has been something that's allowed me to save my hands. I don't have a lot of finger injuries. My thumb's a different issue, but whatever. My fingers don't look terrible for the most part. Like they don't, you know how people get those, like the big, huge knuckles towards the nail bed. And I don't quite have that. So I'm decent. And a lot of it is because early on I understood I popped a couple of fingers because of this. And I had to just learn to let go when I'd let go. And in the beginning, I would just let go and I would have nothing and they would have my hand. And then I started going, well, if I let go, I can grab with my free hand and then I can grab back and it becomes a little bit of exchange. And if I'm smart about it, I end up deeper into this exchange than they will. So understand that we have to be the first person in this debate. You are the conversation starter or the tone setter. Your grips are strategy, not flailing around. Every grip has to have a purpose. Learn to break grips of your opponent and then re-grip your own. Learn which grips are the ones that you need to address, and learn how and when to let go of your own grips to re-grip. That's going to be the scale that you're going to be playing in, or the sandbox that you're going to be playing in. And it's going to be super important to kind of address these things early because they translate to so many different positions. It is not just the start of the round. It works in stand-up. It works in half. It somewhat works in mount. You're going to be playing defensive gripping when someone has your back. So you're going to have to learn how to play and assess hands early and often because it's going to save a lot of heartache throughout your jiu-jitsu journey. That maybe I'm not the greatest guard player. Maybe I'm not the greatest jiu-jitsu player. But if I can understand grip breaking and hand fighting really well, it makes it a lot harder for people to put themselves in positions where I'm at a loss. Lastly, if I didn't touch on this at all, I will have failed this conversation. Gentlemen's agreements need to die. Do not have gentlemen's agreements in any battle that you have, whether it's positionally, whether it's hand fighting, whether it's how we start a round. Do not start on your back. Do not allow them to have grips and think because they got the grip that they earned the grip. They don't earn anything against you for the sake of being there. You address anything and everything they do, and you have to willingly participate in every battle that you have. There's not one battle that you just concede to the other person just because they're there. And what I mean by that is when we start the round, not hand fighting. When we start the round, people starting on their butt or their back, or people willingly agreeing, oh, I'm being swept, I might as well play guard. All these things need to be erased from how you address jiu-jitsu. None of them should exist in your game, and you should always be fighting in any and every position. There are a few instances where I say, yeah, I'm not going to fight here. Few. More often than not, if there's no injury involved or I don't think I'm going to be injured, I'm fighting at every turn. If I'm starting to get swept, I don't just agree to play guard. I'm trying to prevent myself from being put on my back and trying to get up immediately. If I can't get on my back, then I solidify a guard that puts me back in the game. But I'm not agreeing to anything. I'm not agreeing to the grips you play. I'm not agreeing to the territory that we're playing in. I get to dictate just as much as you get to dictate. So we need to fight in all stages. So I'm hoping this helps. I'm hoping this shed some light on how to hand fight properly. If you have any questions about it, please hit me up. I'm going to include some videos and a blog post about this that I hope also helps. At the end of that post, there's going to be some videos that I reviewed from a jiu-jitsu competition recently that demonstrated really high-level grip breaking and hand fighting that I really liked. I'm hoping those also help as reference points. But if you have any questions, please hit me up. dfm.2099 on Instagram and Threads, dfmcoaching.com if you want to work with me. Again, any questions, please hit me up. Thank you so much.